In the recent past, many highly successful Japanese manga or animated stories have been westernized and adapted for a big screen. Many of these stories exist in Japan as among the most influential stories in anime culture, and yet, their adaptations towards Western audiences frequently seem to fall short at the box office. Netflix's 2017 live action film Death Note, 20th Century Fox's 2019 film Alita Battle Angel, which is an adaptation of the 1993 OVA Battle Angel Alita, Village Roadshow's Pictures' 2008 film Speed Racer, and Production IG's 2017 adaptation of The Ghost in the Shell have all built upon a highly popular Japanese story, but fallen short to the expectations of Western film critics, with none of these stories ranking above a 70% score by Rotten Tomato critics. The question this poses is, why did these adaptations fail? Are the story structures not suited for a Western audience? Is the cultural divide too great to overcome? Or did these films fail to capture the essence of what fans of the source material loved about the stories? Specifically regarding Ghost in the Shell 2017, according to the Huffington Post, the film was surrounded in controversy since its conception in 2014 due to the immense and undeniable whitewashing of the cast. As the story was set to still take place in Japan, many fans wondered why Caucasian actors made up the majority of the movie's cast. In fact, only ape-faced Aramaki was given lines in Japanese, while the rest of the cast speaks in English. This trend is unfortunately all too common as well. All the previously mentioned adaptations, such as Speed Racer, Alita Battle Angel, and Death Note, have had their casts compiled of a majority of white actors, despite the ethnicities of the characters in the original source material. Is this then the reason why these films failed to make as much of an impact as their original conceptions? I would propose that the composition of the cast has less to do with the success, but rather that the narrative story elements found in Japanese media do not translate as naturally to a Western audience. In the 1995 anime adaptation of the story, Kusanagi is presented as a character who possesses mysterious motivations. She's exceedingly motivated by her work and a desire to be reborn as somebody who fits in. This content is perfectly represented by the shots of birth of the cybernetic body in both the animated and live-action adaptations. Although Major Mira in the live-action adaptation possesses the previously mentioned qualities, additional layers of complexion are added to her character in the form of additional motivations to discover her past, save Kuze, and put an end to the crooked dealings of Cutter and the Hanukkah Robotics Corporation. 2017's The Ghost in the Shell put special emphasis on flushing out Major's character development and making her more relatable to us as a Western audience. The addition of these narrative motifs are common to Western cinema, and I do believe that they expand upon and humanize Major Mira's character. However, I do not believe that Kusanagi is a character needing humanity. A large aspect of her appeal is the internal struggle between robot and human and the mystery of her motivations. Aside from live-action adaptation, there are two other channels by which Japanese anime has made its way to the Western mainstream: through subtitles and dubbing. The differences between the two may seem minute at face value, but the contrast of voice acting can evoke a massively different array of emotions to a spectator.
You don't badmouth Nami, you stinking fish. Barbecue rib buster. Shish kebab neck smash.
Many Western anime fans prefer to watch with subtitles for two reasons. First, the subtitles provide a closer connection to the source, and second, dubs tend to be marketed more as cartoons, more suited for children than teenage or more adult viewers. Although the live-action adaptation of The Ghost in the Shell is clearly not marketed to children, the film seems even more alienated from its source by its own nature. The rework of visual, narrative, and vocal elements makes it appear as if the film is dubbing both visually and audibly, and therefore it can be seen as a dual-sided detraction of what the story is intended to be. The adaptation of The Ghost in the Shell was not necessarily a failure, but by putting a new spin to the story, IG Productions made the story something that was too similar to separate from the source, but too different for it to evoke the same nostalgia that it may have been intended to. If it were a standalone story, it may have generated more success and less controversy. However, the shadow of the 1995 massive popular adaptation left many fans desperate for what the film missed, rather than what was modified for our benefit.